Did you really think that defeating a ninth-grade Supreme would give you the ability to contend with a true Earth Supreme powerhouse? Tai King said, taking a step forward. At that moment, an overwhelming aura, far beyond the level of a ninth-grade Supreme, descended upon the world. Under this pressure, the entire environment changed color, filling the air with a heavy, oppressive feeling. I watched your battle with Tai Hung earlier, Tai King continued. But if that's all you have, let me tell you just how vast the gap between us is. As Tai King took another step, he vanished from his original position, reappearing 1,000 feet away from Yin. The speed at which he crossed tens of thousands of feet left the onlookers stunned. This was the power of an Earth Supreme. Appearing far from Yin, Tai King slowly raised his hand, and a tremendous amount of spiritual energy gathered on his palm. The force it contained was enough to erase a ninth-grade Supreme in an instant. I won't kill you directly, because you have something I want, Tai King said coldly. What he wanted, of course, was the technique of the sacred drum. As soon as he finished speaking, Tai King slammed his raised palm towards Yin, who was not far ahead. There was no mercy in his attack. However, Tai King's hand never struck. His arm remained suspended in mid-air, and at that moment, Tai King's pupils contracted sharply. Tai King's arm was stopped, but it had already been separated from his body. The one responsible for pulling his arm off was an unknown figure who had appeared behind him, a young man in black. Who were you about to kill? A voice filled with murderous intent rang out as the black-clad youth appeared. Tai King, who had been about to strike, immediately turned around. What he saw was a face full of killing intent. You actually. Seeing the black-clad youth's murderous expression, Tai King's face changed dramatically. Instead of attacking the youth, he rapidly retreated. The sudden turn of events left the powerful experts watching in shock. Even Sun Elder and others looked on in horror at the sudden appearance of the young man, for he was no stranger to them. He was Lin Dong, the martial ancestor of the martial realm. This young man, who came from a lower dimension and had ascended to the level of an Upper Earth Supreme in a short time, was known for his talent that was among the best in the entire Wandering Realm. No one doubted that Lin Dong would reach the Heavenly Supreme level within the next 100 years. His reputation had already spread far and wide in the Wandering Realm. Swish! Lin Dong had severed Tai King's arm, forcing him to retreat. Tai King's expression was now grave, while the onlookers, including Sun Elder and others, were stunned by his sudden appearance. But what truly shocked them wasn't just Lin Dong's presence. Buzz! As Tai King was retreating from Lin Dong, and had yet to exit 100 feet from him, the space behind Tai King began to ripple like water, and in the next moment, before Tai King could react, another black-clad figure appeared behind him. This was an old man with an aura of ancient, primordial energy. Who dares to cause trouble at the doorstep of my Black Spirit clan? The old man's voice, deep and resonant like the sound of a bell, echoed across the heavens. Smash! The moment that bell-like sound reverberated, Tai King, who had been retreating in haste, collided directly with the old black-clad figure. Immediately, a terrifying aura enveloped Tai King, throwing him back with a single forceful push. Boom! A terrifying wave of spiritual energy erupted from the old man, and the level of power was so immense that even Sun Elder's expression changed drastically. The person who had appeared was a true perfected Earth Supreme powerhouse. In this sea region, 5 Earth Supreme powerhouses had gathered. Perfected Earth Supreme. Sun Elder and the others were stunned, their faces filled with dread. They knew that besides the martial ancestor, the martial realm also had at least one Earth Supreme powerhouse. The person who appeared before them was, surprisingly, a true perfected Earth Supreme, and those at the Earth Supreme level understood what that represented better than anyone else. According to the information controlled by Sun Elder and the others, there were only 4 perfected Earth Supremes across the entire Wandering Realm. Among them were Elder Hyemo, the Lord of the Star Palace in the Eastern Domain, Heavenly Luo King, the ruler of the Heavenly God Domain in the Southern Domain, Poseidon, the King of the Sea God Clan in the Western Domain, and the Master of the Mystic Ice Sect, Lord of Cold, in the Northern Domain. However, Sun Elder was certain that the person before him was not one of these four perfected Earth Supremes, nor from the martial realm. Who could this person be? The mention of the Black Spirit Clan by the black-clad Elder. Could he be a member of the Black Spirit Clan? But wasn't the strongest of their kind the clan leader, He Ming, an Upper Earth Supreme? While Sun Elder and the others were shocked by the black-clad Elder's appearance, Tai King, who had been retreating and bumped into the Elder, also trembled. Especially when that terrifying power flooded over him, all Tai King could feel was fear. After all, the figure behind him was a genuine perfected Earth Supreme. Who are you? Tai King slowly turned his head in fear, finally seeing the black-clad figure behind him. Aside from the crushing pressure of power, Tai King could also sense an ancient, primal aura from this figure. An aura that could only be felt from someone who had lived for tens of thousands of years, like a fossil. This revealed that the black-clad Elder's age was terrifyingly high. At the same time, due to Lindong's arrival, many of the martial realm experts quickly gathered around him. The first to arrive was Yin, who, despite his fierce energy earlier, now appeared much more sincere and humble beside Lindong. "Hey, big brother, you've arrived," Yin said with a smile as he looked at Lindong. "Yeah, I've dealt with things on the Black Spirit Clan side. By the way, what's the situation here?" Lindong asked. "Everything is still progressing according to plan. Elder Fenyunzi and the others should have already taken action," Yin replied, then turned to ask, "By the way, big brother, where's sister-in-law and Qing Tan?" Qing Tan had something to verify with the Black Spirit Clan, and Qing Zhu went with her, Lindong answered with a smile, then looked at Yin again. "Seems like you've made some progress in the sacred drum technique. Big brother, this technique is so hard to study. I've only mastered about 60 to 70% of it," Yin said. "If it were easy, it wouldn't be one of the 12 great paths. The portion I've mastered is also average. But even with this, I've only studied less than a tenth. That's why I'm more sure now that the sacred drum technique suits you better than it does me," Lindong said. Swish, swish, swish. As Lindong and Yin were talking, the sound of air breaking echoed, and hundreds of figures appeared within 100 feet of Lindong. These were Elder Song and the other martial realm experts. "Greetings, martial ancestor." The hundreds of martial realm experts immediately kneeled and cupped their hands upon arriving beside Lindong. Lindong waved his hand to signal them to rise. "I thought I'd have to control the situation for several more hours, but you've acted faster than I expected," Elder Song said, smiling lightly as he looked at Lindong. Although there were some setbacks with the Black Spirit Clan, it went smoothly. Lindong nodded, replying to Elder Song. Hearing this, Elder Song smiled again and turned his gaze to the distant horizon. He looked at the black-clad elder who had appeared with Lindong and said, "I thought it would be He Ming, the clan leader of the Black Spirit Clan, coming with you, but to my surprise, it's him." Elder Song. "Who is he?" Elder Lu, who was standing nearby, asked in confusion. Due to the vast difference in their realms, he could only tell that the black-clad elder was an Earth Supreme, but couldn't tell which level of Earth Supreme he was. However, judging by the expressions of Sun Elder and the others, the black-clad elder's strength was likely above Upper Earth Supreme. If it had been the clan leader of the Black Spirit Clan, He Ming, we would still be embroiled in conflicts with the three major forces for a while. But since it's him, the outcome of this matter is already clear, Elder Song said. The hundreds of martial realm experts around them also looked at the black-clad elder with astonishment. Someone who received such high praise from the experienced Elder Song must be an extraordinary figure. While many powerful figures gathered their attention on the black-clad elder, the elder, however, ignored them. "You don't know me," which is normal. After all, my seclusion this time lasted for several hundred years. The elderly man in black looked at the Tai King before him and said indifferently. Then, he slowly turned around to face the Sun Elder and the others behind him. At the same time, his resonant voice spread throughout the entire sea region. "You younger generations, always trying to create some big commotion. You're still so young, and yet you constantly wave the banner of dominating the wandering realm." The words of the elderly man echoed through the heavens and earth. In his voice, There was an ancient aura that made everyone present dare not question his true age. It seemed that, to him, all those present were nothing more than youngsters. Swish. Taking advantage of the black-clad elder's attention being focused on the Sun Elder and the others, the Tai King moved and directly rushed toward the Sun Elder and the others in the distance. Damn it! Who was this old monster? The Tai King, having reached the side of the Sun Elder, looked ahead at the black-clad elder with a heavy expression and spoke in a low voice. The Sun God Temple is indeed an old established power, but what are the Starshine Pavilion and the Titan Sky Domain? Just as the Tai King arrived next to the Sun Elder and the others, the black-clad elder looked at the Sun Elder and said indifferently, "When I went into seclusion years ago, you, the Lord of the Sun God Temple, were still just an Upper Earth Supreme, right?" Upon hearing this, the Sun Elder's heart trembled, and a look of astonishment appeared on his face. What the black-clad elder said was indeed true. Hundreds of years ago, he had just recently advanced to the Earth Supreme level. On the other hand, both the 10,000 Stars Earth Supreme and the Tai King appeared quite uncomfortable and somewhat angry. After all, no matter how they viewed it, the Starshine Pavilion and the Titan Sky Domain they had built had been standing tall in the Wandering Realm for over 100 years. Yet now, they were being directly belittled. However, despite their anger, neither the 10,000 Stars Earth Supreme nor the Tai King dared to act against the black-clad elder. The disparity in strength was too great. "May I ask, Senior, who exactly are you? In all these years, I haven't heard of such a powerful figure in the Wandering Realm," the Sun Elder asked, looking at the black-clad elder. At the same time, he was thinking, this black-clad elder knows events from hundreds of years ago, so he must be someone from this very Wandering Realm. But despite being in this realm for over 1,000 years, the Sun Elder had never heard of him before. When did the Black Spirit Clan have such a terrifying powerhouse? "There is no need to hide my identity," the black-clad elder replied without any intention of secrecy. Standing with his hands behind his back, he looked down on the Sun Elder and the others as if he were a deity. Then, a calm voice emerged from his mouth. "My name has never changed, and my surname remains the same.